You know those classic muscle cars that used to rule the roads back in the day? The ones that had everyone turning their heads as they rumbled by? Well, brace yourselves, because we're about to show you 10 of those iconic rides that we think deserve a serious modern makeover. Before we proceed, I want to say a very big thank you to our 1,500 subscribers. What car do you think deserves a modern design? Let's have your thoughts in the comments section. Number 10. Pontiac GTO Judge. Alright, let's start with an absolute icon, the Pontiac GTO The Judge. This muscle car was Pontiac's sportiest and most thrilling offering back in the late 60s and early 70s, and it's impossible to have a conversation about classic muscle without bringing it up. Just picture it, that instantly recognizable carousel red paint, the muscular stance, and the legendary Ram Air Fu V8 under the hood, pumping out at least 370 horses to the rear wheels. It was a beast of a machine that turned heads wherever it went. But you know what would really get gearheads buzzing? A modern reimagining of this iconic muscle car. And that's exactly what we've cooked up in a recent digital render. Imagine a 2025 Pontiac GTO Judge that sits even lower to the ground, with larger wheels and a bolder, more aggressive design. LED headlights and taillights would give it a futuristic edge, while functional air vents feed air into a massive V8. Maybe even the Corvette Z6's screaming 5.5-liter LT6, good for an earth-shattering 670 horsepower. Friends, this isn't just a mild refresh. This is a total transformation that would have purists and newcomers alike drooling over a modern take on an absolute icon. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around to see what else we have in store for these 10 muscle car makeovers. This is going to be good. Number 9. AMC Rebel Machine. From its bold red, white, blue paint job to the Ram Air hood scoop and the machine badging, the Rebel Machine really stood out from the crowd back in the day. And let's not forget that savage 6.4-liter V8 pumping out 340 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. This thing was no slouch. Now imagine if AMC's classic muscle car made a big comeback, but under one of the big three automakers. That would be the ultimate proof that the muscle car spirit is alive and well. We've dreamed up a 2025 AMC Rebel Machine that takes inspiration from the Dodge Challenger, with a similar muscular stance and design. But this modern Rebel Machine would have its own unique flair, with those squared-off headlights and a massive hood scoop to feed air into what we imagine would be Dodge's monstrous Hellcat V8. Can you just picture the mayhem that 800 horsepower would unleash? It would be the ultimate muscle car comeback. The AMC Rebel Machine may not get the same attention as some other icons, but in our eyes, it's just as deserving of a stunning 21st century makeover. Stay tuned, because we've got 8 more incredible muscle car redesigns to show you. This is going to be good, folks. Number 8. Ford Torino. You know, during its relatively short run between 68 and 76, the Torino may not have been as big a household name as the Mustang or Chevelle. But Ford still gave us some real gems in that lineup, like the Torino GT and Cobra models. I mean, these things were absolute rockets on the road. Ford stuffed the Super Cobra Jet V8 under the hood, pumping out a ridiculous 375 horsepower and over 450 pound-feet of torque. That kind of power was enough to smoke just about anything else out there back in the day. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd love to see Ford bring the Torino name back as a sharp, luxurious 2025 coupe. Just imagine what they could do with it. Maybe stuff that supercharged Predator V8 under the hood for some real jaw-dropping performance. That would be an absolute game-changer and get the enthusiasts buzzing, I reckon. The Torino may have been a bit overshadowed back in the day, but this is a muscle car that deserves another chance to shine. A modern, high-performance Torino coupe could be just the thing to get people excited about Ford's legacy all over again. Stay tuned, because we're just getting started with these killer muscle car makeovers. Number 7. Buick GNX. You see, the GNX was the first car to really prove that you don't need a huge V8 to have true muscle car performance. Nope, this bad boy had just a turbocharged V6 under the hood, but it could still outrun just about every other American car on the market at the time. Heck, It even had those fancy European sports car brands like Ferrari looking over their shoulders. And let me tell you, they really nailed the essence of the original. It's got that classic two-door coupe silhouette, with a nice big shaker hood scoop up front to feed air into what I consider to be the absolute beast of an engine. And you know what kind of engine they've got in mind for this modern revival? Cadillac's 3.6-liter twin-turbo V6 from the CT4V Sports sedan. That beast puts down a ridiculous 472 horsepower and 445 pound-feet of torque, more than enough to rocket this GNX coupe to 60 miles per hour in about 3 seconds flat. Can you imagine the pure adrenaline rush of driving a muscle car that fast? The original GNX was a true game changer, and with a modern high-performance revival like this, I have a feeling the GNX name could make an epic comeback. Buick's definitely got their work cut out for them, but I can't wait to see what they come up with. Stay tuned, because we've got a few more legendary muscle cars up our sleeve. Number 6. Ford Gran Torino. And get this, one of the coolest Gran Torinos ever made was the 72 model, which came packing the same screaming 429 Cobra Jet V8 as the regular Torino. So when we set out to imagine what a modern 2025 Gran Torino could look like, we knew we had to team up with the folks at Shelby. I mean, who better to give this iconic muscle car a serious 21st century makeover? We're talking aggressive, angular lines, massive flared fenders, and of course those signature Shelby Cobra badges all over the place. And get this, under the hood, they've imagined Ford's monstrous 815 horsepower Predator V8, straight from the Mustang GT500. Can you even begin to imagine the pure adrenaline rush of having that much power on tap in a modern Gran Torino? This is a muscle car that's been cemented in pop culture history, and a serious 21st century revival could be exactly what Ford needs to get enthusiasts fired up all over again. I, for one, can't wait to see what other legendary nameplates get the modern makeover treatment. Stay tuned, folks. This is going to be good. Number 5. Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. I mean, come on. That winning combo of the gold screaming chicken decals and the sleek black paint? That Trans Am was unmistakable out on the streets. It had this imposing, aggressive presence that just oozes pure muscle car attitude. You couldn't help but turn your head when one of those things rumbled by. So if the folks at GM were to bring this legend back in 2025, it's gotta have that same in-your-face vibe, you know? We're talking wider body, massive front splitter, those signature LED lights, the works. And of course, you can't forget the shaker hood scoop on top, feeding air into an absolute monster of a V8. Maybe something like the 6.2-liter LT2 from the Corvette C8 to really give it that adrenaline-pumping performance. The Firebird Trans Am is such a legendary muscle car, and a modern revival that really stays true to its roots could be exactly what enthusiasts are craving these days. I don't know about you, but I'm pumped to see what other iconic nameplates get the 21st century treatment. Number 4. Oldsmobile 442. Now, this bad boy first hit the market way back in 1964, and it came packing a brawny 330 cubic inch V8, putting out 310 horsepower. That was some serious muscle back in the day, going head-to-head with the likes of the Pontiac GTO and those wild Hemi Mopars. But you know, the 442 never quite reached the same legendary status as some of those other icons. Maybe it was the malaise era that stripped away all its power in the 70s. Either way, it's high time Oldsmobile, or heck, maybe even Cadillac, brought this muscle car nameplate back for the modern era. The 442 may not have the same household name status as some other muscle cars, but it's still an icon deserving of a serious comeback. With the right modern treatment, this could be Oldsmobile or Cadillac's ticket back into the high-performance game in a big way. Stay tuned, because we've got a couple more legendary nameplates to cover. Number 3. Dodge Viper. Think about it. The last-gen Viper was an absolute beast, packing that legendary V10 engine that made it the most powerful, naturally aspirated V10 production car ever made. And let's not forget, it even held the record for the fastest American car and manual car around the Nürburgring. That's some serious performance cred right there. So if Stellantis were to revive the Viper for the modern era, we reckon they'd need to pull out all the stops. Imagine an even more imposing, audacious design that makes the current Corvette ZR1 look tame by comparison. And under the hood, maybe they'd have to go with that elongated new Hurricane twin-turbo inline-6, cranking out up to 540 horsepower. Sure, it's not a V10, but that kind of power would still make this modern Viper an absolute monster on the road. Right now, the Corvette C8 is pretty much the only mass-market American sports car left with a big V8 under the hood. But the Viper nameplate is just too iconic to let fade away. A modern revival that stays true to its roots could be exactly what Stellantis needs to get enthusiasts fired up all over again. I, for one, can't wait to see what they come up with. Number 2. Mercury Cyclone. Take the 428 Cobra jet-equipped Cyclone, for example. It was officially rated at 335 horsepower, but those in the know reckon it was pushing closer to 400 horses to the wheels. And with the way it could cover the quarter mile in the low 13-second range, this thing was no slouch. We're talking a sleek, sloping roofline, a massive hood with a raised air scoop, and circular LED quad headlights up front. And check out that massive rear spoiler, a nod to the old NASCAR-ready Cyclone spoiler model. Plus, those quad exhaust tips peeking out from under the taillights. Yeah, this thing's got some serious performance chops. The Cyclone may not be as iconic as some other muscle cars out there, but it's definitely deserving of a serious 21st century revival. With the right modern treatment, this could be Mercury's ticket back into the high-performance game in a big way. Stay tuned, because we've got one more legendary nameplate to cover. Number 1. Plymouth Hemi Cuda, Convertible. I mean, this thing is the ultimate evolution of the Barracuda nameplate, packing the legendary 426 Hemi Fiv 8 under the hood. That monster was pushing out 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque, enough to utterly dominate the NASCAR circuit back in the day. And get this, only 3 Hemi Cuda convertibles were ever made, making it one of the rarest muscle cars on the planet. If one of those babies comes up for auction, it'll easily fetch millions depending on the condition. The Hemi Cuda is the definition of a muscle car icon, and a properly executed modern revival could be exactly what Mopar enthusiasts are craving. I, for one, can't wait to see if Stellantis has the guts to bring this legend back to life in a big way. What a way to cap off this list of muscle car reimaginings. Thank you for sticking till the end.